Hello dear viewer, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, I'm Omar with Patterson Autos, and I love to show you the cars that we have to offer so that you can make a more informed purchase decision. Today is a very special day, and that's because I'm driving the 2024 MX-5 Miata. Now, the Miata is in its fourth generation, which is called the ND, and the ND has a very special place in my heart. So I'm gonna warn you right now, if I start crying, I promise you they're happy tears. All right, this ND has been around since 2014, 2015, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It became the car of my dreams. I chased those dreams and I got one for myself. Now the next car of my dreams costs like a literal $1 million, so I think I'm gonna stick where I'm at. Right now I'm driving down the Pacific Coast Highway, which is a staple here in Southern California, and it's just a breezy, scenic, easy to drive place to be. Now, the Miata is what I think the perfect car for anybody that doesn't need a ton of space, and it actually has more space than most people think. So I daily drive my car, my wife has one, she daily drives it, we don't have another car, and we get by just fine. We do have a dog, but he's small and he takes up no space. What I love about the Miata is that it's so small and nimble. On paper, it doesn't get a lot of power, it's 181 horses, but because the car is so light, about 23 to 2,400 pounds depending on your configuration, it's so easy to drive, and you're getting killer fuel efficiency while having all of the fun in the world. I like to say that this is the most fun that you can have under the speed limit. And of course you can have it above the speed limit, you can take it on a track and really fly, but it's just the perfect daily driver for me. The car is built around the driver, and it's built with a 50-50 weight distribution in the front and rear, taking into consideration a person in the driver's seat. Now, I mentioned the weight varies depending on configuration, so 2,300 to 2,400 pounds is going to depend on whether you get a soft top or this, the RF, retractable fastback. The one little asterisk that I should mention is that the soft top has that perfect 50-50 weight distribution. The RF does have a little bit more weight in the rear, which makes for a tail-happy driving dynamic, which is a lot of fun in my book, but the refinements in 2024 to the manual transmission versions mean that you've got a little bit more control going around corners and around curves. I'll disclose, this is an automatic version, which is why you don't see me shifting around a whole bunch. And I'm driving it just because it's the one that we happen to have in stock at Huntington Beach Mazda for me to show you today. If you ask me, I think the manual is the right answer when it comes to a Miata, but there may be situations where an automatic is what you want. Maybe you're a little intimidated to be daily driving a manual. Maybe you're a little bit older and your knees hurt. Maybe you're missing a leg for whatever reason, or you just happen to have a bad leg and so a manual is out of the question. Or you sit in bumper to bumper traffic all the time. Maybe you work in Los Angeles, that kind of thing, and a manual just stops being fun pretty quick. So an automatic is not a bad choice. You still get a sport mode, which keeps you in a more engaged driving scenario. There is manual shifting, so you can select between the 6 real gears that are in this transmission. This is a real 6-gear transmission, never a CVT. And you get pedal shifters, as you would see in most modern sports cars anyway. Also worth mentioning that the automatic version of the Miata is a little bit faster than the manual. I mentioned how tiny this car is, which makes it really easy to get through traffic when you need to, and although there's not a ton of power there, because the car is so light, when you need to get out of trouble, you can just do that. And everybody loves Miatas because they are convertibles, but in my case, I wasn't craving a convertible. I really just wanted a very fun rear-wheel drive coupe that was built around the driver, which is exactly what the RF is, so that's what I went with. But this wouldn't be a Miata video if I didn't put the top down, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. In the case of the soft top, it's a single-handed operation. You've got a latch and a handle that you can toss the whole top back with, and you can bring it down to snap into place. In the case of the RF, you've got a single switch in the center console, and it's a one-fingered operation. You just have to press and hold for about 13 seconds, and you'll see what that process looks like in a little display on your dash. There is a final confirmation beep that you have to wait for, otherwise the car will be sad and it's going to yell at you while you're driving around with the top not all the way down or not all the way up. And there we go. So in the case of the soft top, you would have a fully open cockpit where you can see around every corner. In the case of the RF, it's only the roof and the back window that get tucked in, so you do have a little bit of a visibility difference, but if you set your mirrors right, I don't think that you're going to have too much of a blind spot. So how about we teleport to my car? Pardon the mess, I know, how do I live with myself? We're here because I want to talk about driving dynamics, and I just can't squeeze out that much fun on PCH myself. Now, mind that this is a 2019 ND, and I don't have the few enhancements that came in 2024, but I do have that 181 horsepower engine that got bumped in 2019, and this is a manual transmission, so it should be a good amount more fun. Right now we're driving through Live Oak Canyon, which is a very beautiful shaded road that leads you to Santiago Canyon, and I think that that's one of the staples that we have here in Orange County, so very fortunate to say that we can drive that just about any day of the year. As far as enhancements that the 2024 sees, first we got to talk about the steering. And it's a little bit tighter in the 2024. Right now, this on the low end is a little bit more responsive, so it used to get a little bit twitchy, which can be fun, but if you're in a track scenario or what have you, you do benefit from having that tighter steering on the low end. In the case of the manuals, Mazda says that the 24 gets an optimized throttle response. I don't really know what that means. If I want more throttle, I just step on it, but I do think that it's worth testing a little bit further to see if it helps out, especially in the case of the track. Other enhancements that the 2024 gets are a refined LSD, or limited slip differential, which will keep the car more predictable at turn-in, and a new track mode for the dynamic stability control, which is going to keep you on the pavement essentially. So because the car can get a little bit tail happy when you're pulling out of a turn, this will just limit that. So think of it as an in-between on your good old traction control, which is meant to keep you in your lane. This is just a midway point to let you learn the dynamics of the car without getting into the danger zone. And we're back. Now we're cruising up Beach Boulevard on the way to Huntington Beach Mazda, which lent us this car. Thank you so much for lending it to us. If you are ready to test drive a Miata, be it a soft top or an RF, we'll be happy to take care of you there at Huntington Beach Mazda or at Tustin Mazda, both part of Patterson Autos. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tell me what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.